Hey everyone, my name is Taryn and thank you so much for stopping by my channel, Nicole Flower House. This channel is all about my cut flower garden and I'm located in Zone 7B. Now I am so happy to be putting this video out. I know it's been a long time since I put a video out, but sometimes life happens and I'm just glad to be back. Now, I really appreciate all the comments from everyone and all the well wishes. I am doing fine. Everything is okay. And I know I haven't put out a video practically this entire summer. And that is just because I needed a little break. I totally burned myself out in the spring. The tulips were more than I bargained for. I feel really prepared after what I learned to do tulips better next season. I had also gone back to work full-time, and I was also learning a lot about how to run my flower shop full-time. So just blending all of those things together kind of burned me out, which is okay. So I just took a break from YouTube and I needed to find more balance in my life. And that just involved me exercising more, doing a little bit of weightlifting, eating healthier, and getting rest and sleep when I needed it, and just making sure I was able to go to work, take care of myself, and take care of the shop. After I had a little break, I just now decided I'm ready to come back to my YouTube channel. I hope I can be more consistent in the future with all the things that I'm implementing and changing. I want to share with you what's been going on in the garden and what my plans are so that next year I can set myself up for a better season. I think burnout is really common in any kind of farming. Not really, I think it is very common. When I recognized the burnout in myself, I just took the time to rest and took all the recovery I needed, and here I am. In addition to me finding more balance in my own life, I needed to find more balance in the garden. When I was working my soil in the spring this year, I noticed how terrible of a condition it was in. And this is just from me not taking enough care of it. Part of it is me wanting to be really natural in my garden, so I don't add any fertilizers or anything like that. But I had gotten lazy about putting compost, and the only thing I was putting down was basically mulch. I have a few strategies, and just one of the changes that I feel like I want to make in my garden, and I'm not saying anything bad about this method, but I no longer want to grow in raised beds. I want my soil to have direct contact with the earth and not have to rely on me building those soil nutrients. I just want to utilize what's in the ground. That pretty much took a lot of my time this year. I've been removing the wood. The wood is something that was inexpensive when I first built it and is very expensive now. So I'm not going to replace it. I'm slowly going to allow these beds to continue to fall and eventually just become part of the ground. I'm still going to be heavily mulching these garden beds. Once I get all the grass and the weeds out of them, I know they're completely overgrown right now, and that's just for me not weeding these. Another thing I've been using all season long to improve my soil are bacterial solutions from a company called BugHut. These are all natural solutions made of bacteria and other supplements that I am using to help restore my soil and feed my plants. These are not fertilizers or chemicals. They are just natural solutions, kind of like feeding kombucha to your plants is how I'm looking at it. So I will put a link to them in the description below, and also I do have a coupon code that I will share with you at the end of this video. But that is something that I am using to help feed my plants in a natural way. It's not harmful to the environment. It fits my whole mission in trying to grow flowers naturally, and I've really seen a difference. Unfortunately, because I haven't been filming, I don't have footage like before and afters this season, but I'm hoping to document that better for the fall and upcoming seasons. This year, something I've really noticed too as the garden is aging and maturing is that I have a lot more wildlife in the garden. I'm so happy to see birds and rabbits and insects and pollinators everywhere. This year I got hit really hard with Japanese beetles again, and my dahlias and roses are just now starting to recover. And thankfully I have learned some things from North Lawn Flower Farm that will help me control that a little better next season. Another thing I'm going to be doing is something called living pathways. I might have mentioned this in previous videos, I can't really remember, but it's basically instead of wood chipping or mulching my pathways, I'm going to allow them to be grass and just continue to mow. All that grass has so much nitrogen in it and it's so healthy, and when you use it as mulch and compost, it really adds a lot of nutrients to your soil. So I'm just kind of cutting out the middleman here and the labor involved in mulching and wood chipping pathways and just using the grass. Now, the grass has overtaken my garden this year. I think part of it is me learning how to manage the living pathways, but part of it has been our weather. This year in particular has been extremely raining. It has literally rained almost every day. And you know, with rain comes weeds and grass. So I'm not going to be entirely discouraged from how weedy and grassy my garden has gotten this year. I also have not put hardly any time into weeding, and I could not mow for literally a month probably because the grass was so wet every day. And I don't know if you can see any of the condensation on some of the flowers in this footage that you're seeing right now. I just took this footage about an hour ago, and maybe 6 hours prior, maybe even 8 hours, it was pretty early this morning, we had a thunderstorm come through. So the plants are just staying wet all the time, and it is extremely difficult to mow and keep up with grass when it is storming and raining nearly every day. It kind of feels like a tropical rainforest. The garden definitely looks like a jungle. I say this every year, but I think this year it's the most wild it's ever been. And I may even say that every year. So the rain has definitely ruined my cosmos. You can see here that they have molded. My dahlias, some of the blooms rot before they can open up. I dealt with that a little bit last year. It is worse this year, and I know it's just because of the amount of rain we're getting. Every year in farming, it's going to be a new challenge, and this year it's definitely rain. But anyways, these living pathways also help with keeping the soil microbes diverse. There's photosynthesis going on. It's helping with carbon sequestration. So I am happy with the way this is turning out. Even in my rose garden, I'm letting the grass grow in. And I may use a little bit of mulch in the fall at the base of the plants to get this under control. But that is just another method that I'm going to be using. I don't really want to commit myself to moving wheelbarrows full of mulch every year either. These pathways just are not wide enough to utilize equipment like tractors or dump trailers. So I was having to manually mulch all of this area, and I'm just not going to do that anymore. It's much easier for me to bring my little tiny electric mower in here and mow this down and use the weed whipper where I need to. The next thing I'm going to be doing to free up some of my time in the spring is to rely more on my fall garden to have things overwintered. I live in zone 7B, and that's the perfect climate to overwinter cool flowers, and so that I'll have an early spring flush and not have to rely on seedlings. I want to raise way less seedlings than I ever have before and just rely on direct seeding. There's really no reason for me to rush to have summer flowers really early. I have a plenty long enough growing season where I think I can just utilize overwintered fall plantings and spring bulbs to get me through the spring and into early summer. And then I will direct seed most of my garden from that point on, unless it's something that will not germinate out in the garden. I'm hoping that not having to raise as many seedlings and then plant those seedlings out will give me more time to focus on my tulips and my shop during that time. Another thing is that I know I have to have my infrastructure done before the spring. Every year I'm like, I will stake my dahlias up, I will get the netting up as the things start to bloom, and that never happens. If you've followed my channel over the years, my dahlias are never staked up, and guess what? They're not staked up this year either. They're just kind of falling on each other and falling into the pathways as usual, so you will see that throughout my garden. Maybe next year will be the year. I have yet to successfully corral or net or stake up my dahlias, but maybe this next season. I don't know. That's kind of funny. Okay, here are what the BugHut solutions look like. I'm using all three of these. You can mix these together in your watering can, and here is your coupon code. If you use my name, Terren, Terren 15, that'll get you 15% off at bughut.com. That is an affiliate link, and all you do is you shake it up a little bit and you remove one of the caps. You squeeze the amount you need into the chamber based on how big your watering can is. You stir it up and you water. And I do put all three of these in the same watering can, so that works out nice and easy. And despite all the weeds and all the craziness in the garden, I am still able to get bouquets of flowers out of there. It's so exciting, they're so beautiful, and that's the whole point. What I'm doing is just taking one bouquet a day down to my shop every other day, and if it sells, I'll bring one the next day. But right now, that is a good balance for me. I'm selling between 1 and 3 bouquets a week, which for me is more bouquets than I've ever sold before, if I do that consistently throughout the whole year. I know that seems like nothing if I compare myself to other flower farmers or other YouTube channels, but for me, that is amazing, so I will take it. I thank everyone for sticking with me this past few months, even though I haven't been posting videos, and I'm really happy to be back. The best way you can support me and my channel is to subscribe and share it with your flower-loving friends, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye.